You want to know what I think about the movie? I can sum it up in one phrase. You can have your own opinion, but you can't have your own facts.
God. Who are you?
See, I am trained now. I can't introduce myself unless you ask me
I
what
know,
my
but
name
that's
is.
that's the time we know coming out of the
Okay,
break.
I am Dr. Paul,
I'm Diet Dr.
and
Paul.
we are father, son, boomer, millennial, rotten potatoes here every single week it's been almost 2 years now.
It's been almost 3 years
Get
now.
out of here.
Yes.
Well, one of those I was sick.
We've done 2 31 days of Halloween and we're coming up on the
Oh
third,
my God, I'm looking forward to that one too.
which
So
we need to brainstorm.
we do.
Yeah.
But we talk about movies primarily, all kinds of movies, probably more genre films, science fiction, horror, especially comic book films. But even beyond that, how that impacts the world and life and faith and finance and politics and all that. And my goodness, talk about a movie that
Yeah,
sort
he
of
said a buzzword.
intersects with all of those. Um, I know it's a little late, kind of said we're a little behind because there have been so many good movies and we're like
Mhm.
watching them the day that they come out. I mean, Superman and Weapons and Together, and this movie is called,
Eddington by my boy Ari Aster. Good.
which you are a huge Aster fan.
Yeah, but we might need to put an Aster X next to that from now on. Just kidding. Yeah, he's
Oh,
my boy. He's not a perfect director, but there is no director in Hollywood at all that will just do interesting things. He'll tackle interesting things. It may not be perfectly executed, but he's going to go after topics and things that are just original and unique.
well, typically on these hot takes, we give you a synopsis of the film. We talk about what's the good, what's the bad, and what is our verdict.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you the sort of the synopsis
The
of this.
synopses.
In a nutshell, it's a story
In a nutshell, I
of
can't get over this.
a sheriff and a mayor in a small town who have a standoff around the mask mandate that happened during COVID
Well,
19.
and a lot of like the political ideologies that sort of come with that territory.
Right, because it really is. That was a time in our history, I mean, when COVID happened, that you saw this, where did it come from, and was this created in a lab somewhere in China, and how do we go about sort of addressing it, and whether you drink bleach and all the craziness that, and when I say craziness, it's not made up. I mean, it's actually things that were actually said or printed.
Hmm.
And from there, though, it really sort of is about information and misinformation and how that impacts a community, because it's a mystery, it's a thriller, and these two decide, the sheriff decides he's going to run for mayor, and it really is, it's a, I would say it's a ticking time bomb
It
of a
is.
movie.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like a revenge tale, but like in real time from a guy that doesn't quite understand what he's up against or what the stakes of the situation at the moment, and he sort of fumbles this whole thing. It's like a character study than more so than a movie to me. But that was it's a it is a ticking time, but yeah, it's a good one, like a powder keg kind of film for sure.
If you take, well, let's just jump right into it. I mean, what, the good,
The good.
hence there's the screen, good. What did you like about it?
Well, like I said, Ari Aster is going to do bold things. So he's going to attract actors that do bold things. So obviously the Joaquin Phoenix thing here. If Joaquin Phoenix and Ari Aster do a movie together, I'm going to see it, regardless of what happens from here on out. I think he just understands his writing so well. Love or hate the story, I think that his character was just interesting. He's so like you wanted to pull for him, but he just does unlikable things and the unlikable ideas in his head, but you feel bad for the guy. It's just I don't know. And then you have the juxtapose that you have Pedro Pascal's character, who really is a wholly unlikable guy, but sort of sits from the moral high ground of like, in this situationally speaking, like he's kind of doing the right things. He's attempting to do the right things. And so it's this real weird juxtaposition I think, and that I had a kick with that. That's probably my favorite thing in the movie.
Yeah. Casting on it was really was brilliant. You know, Emma Stone
And I
was
don't normally like her, but she was okay in this.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I think the I mean the heartbeat is the sheriff and the
Hmm.
police chief with Pascal and Phoenix. Um, I thought it's done. If I'm so always happy when I see a movie and it's not filmed in a place that's supposed to look like Los Angeles or
Oh
New
no, it
York,
does
and so
not.
it does capture more of a small town, rural kind of environment. And we think sometimes, like when you turn on the news and you see things happening, when you see riots, when you saw with the George Floyd, or whether it's Black Lives Matter, or those all of these kind of things. Sometimes we always see these through the lens of urbanicity,
Hmm.
and this was more in a more of a small town, kind of more a small town grocery store where everybody knows
Hmm.
each other. And so, you know, the sheriff goes in there, and you know, he doesn't want to wear a mask, and he's saying, I have, and he uses the
Yes,
little
yes,
the inhaler
inhaler.
kind of thing. So clearly it's difficult for him to do that. So there's a reason he doesn't want to, you know, to do that. And so you're there, and you have some people that are saying, "Look, that's what the rule is. We didn't set this. This was set, you know, by
Hmm.
government at the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
health department or state kind of stuff." It was nice to see that from a rural perspective. I'm glad that setting. It's very surprising because it does not go where you think
Not
it's
at
going
all.
to go. By
Not
the
at all.
that last act of the movie and the big payoff at the end, I did not see any of that coming at all, and that was surprising. And I like surprising. I like, you know, how many times we don't want to see the same movie over and over again and be able to predict what's going to happen. This is very unpredictable.
Yeah, and like all of Ari Aster's movies, there
Mm.
is an undertone of traumatic family life that is sort of woven through this. I got to ask you, at some point, are we going to get the Ari Aster home videos and we're going to get to watch what happened to him in his childhood when he
Raised in the
was.
cave by wolves.
Yeah, it's going to look like Hannibal Lecter or something. He's going to be, behind glass.
It puts the lotion on its stomach.
Yeah, I cannot imagine the scar that what happened to him to be scarred as a child to like have these ideas, but there's always just it's he's just so interesting. I don't know. That's the why I get so excited about his
I know
movies.
you love him. He was your boyfriend.
He
Yeah.
was my boyfriend.
So you think it was a perfect film?
No, not at all.
Au contraire, mon
Au
frère.
contraire, mon frère.
So what was the bad side?
Well, sometimes it is a bit like a kid in a sandbox, sort of like you're doing all these things, but sometimes it felt like it was going nowhere, or that it would get bogged down in repetitiveness or, um, dead ends, things like that. I felt like certain stories were underutilized. Like we have the Austin Butler character and his relationship with Emma Stone, and I thought it went absolutely nowhere. Like we meet this guy, and I thought, oh, we're gonna get some really interesting stuff from this. Because can you imagine him and the sheriff butting heads with one another, like completely different than what happens with Pedro Pascal? But we get none of it. You have the mom character who, yeah, she's sort of there, but she's just sort of the exclamation point at the end of the film, and that's I love that. I thought it was such a great ending and one of my favorite parts of the movie, but it feels uh missed, like underperformed, like it could have been better is really where my biggest the biggest thought when I walked out of the film was like I felt like it missed the mark a little bit. Was it bad? I liked the movie, but I was expecting it something different, I think. And maybe it goes all the way back to the making of this film and the log line and what it was supposed to be when they were reporting about it. It was almost like going to be like a zombie movie or something weird like that. And obviously this is not the case. So maybe that has something to do with it. But it just felt like it just missed a little bit.
Ask me what I didn't like about it.
What didn't you like
I'm
about
glad you asked. I would put this as a double feature with Civil War, and I
it?
would
You just don't like Marvel movies. Got him.
and I would call them two of the most cowardly movies ever made.
Because they pose a question and don't answer it.
It's not about so much posing a question. It's every movie. It's impossible to make a movie without sort of a moral sort of high ground. If you're talking about Jurassic Park, you know, the moral high ground in that is that technology gone wrong for money's purposes is a bad thing.
You didn't stop to think if you should do it or not.
Right. Civil War poses this whole thing. We're going to have this. The country is going to be divided, and not only that, it's Texas and it's the South. It's like, what possible do they share that they're going to, say the government is bad, it's evil, and we're going to fall apart as a country. We're going to have secession kind of stuff. No attempt whatever to take a moral ground, saying, well, what is right or what is good.
Hmm.
The same thing is true in this. What starts out is just sort of the background of COVID-19, then goes into all of the misinformation campaigns that has plagued this country for the last 8 years, that the Democrats are running these child sex abuse rings. That's the Austin Butler, that's his whole storyline on this. Black Lives Matter. Here's a town where there really are no black people, and yet they're doing all of the marches and everything like that. It's all of these hot button issues that turn into this whole thing just spirals and spirals, and this unchecked misinformation that there's no attempt to do that at all. And that's why I say you can have your own opinion, but you can't have your own facts,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I think that that's the danger in this particular movie, is that you might have people from the right that are zero in on saying, yeah, see, we really do have these sex abuse things. We saw it right there. That one and woman, she's pregnant in the end, and that whole thing. Or the people from the left are going to look at this and just be angered by the whole thing. It's like, no, 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 no. That's not true. That didn't happen. It's how the media corporation has just sort of taken over. And I know I don't want to get in it with you, but I thought it was a cowardly stance in a movie.
I think that your reaction is not one that is. I think it's been a reaction that a lot of people had, especially people with similar political values to what you have. I think that they saw that and they felt very similar. I think from where I said it is, it wasn't so much that as I felt like it was holding a mirror up to the absurdity so much and just kind of letting it play out. And I get that it can feel a bit like, well, you didn't take a side, you didn't put stakes into your opinion. You just sort of like, here's some chaos, let's look at it and magnifying glass and we'll burn the ants and we'll have a good old time. I get that, but I think that there's something to that specific moment in time where there was so much absurdity, because what is it, people are locked in their houses with just time on their hands, endless time. And when people have time, we get into all sorts of nonsense. And so I felt like I didn't mind it as much. I felt much more burnt by it in Civil War than this, but maybe that was just expectation.
I think it does take a side.
You do.
The fact that you have Antifa and you have these armed um, with helicopters and tanks and everything that are going into town and killing off people, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't exist, but yet he puts it on the screen.
Well, I mean, that does exist. The idea is it's showing the worst of both sides. You have this, you want to show the Antifa, but we're also showing the right wing moral moronic extremist as well. They're both there in their flaming glory, and I think the absurdity of both. It's one over the other is not worse.
You believe that there are people with that are using drones and going into communities and killing people.
In what, like Antifa?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure that people have been murdered by drones. It happens in the
I'm not talking
cartels all
about
the
drones. I mean,
times.
talking you had armed guards. You had people that were. That's the whole third
That's
act of this.
literally like the playbook of the cartel, my guy.
Yes, if you were in Venezuela or you were
They're
in
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 Arizona and
Mexico.
New Mexico.
No, I'm not this. I think they frame this as Antifa. They it's like let's take all of this stuff that some of which is just absolutely absurd and not true, but yet let's depict it as true. And I think that's dangerous. And I think it's cowardly as well. But anyway,
I didn't get that at all. I didn't get that at all.
well, there was a good portion of the movie that you went out to get your second bucket of popcorn.
Don't be mad because I had popcorn left over. I don't think that it took took a stance because I don't think that was the aspect of this film. I do think this was a sandbox, and right or wrong, real or not, I don't think that was the point of this.
Let's just end this before I get
How
mad.
do you say you're not getting anything in the inheritance without saying you're not getting anything in the inheritance?
How about a score?
A score.
Let me go first. I'm gonna give it 7.5.
That's wow. That's a lot higher than I expected.
Well, just because I don't. I mean, I'm talking about the film, the technical aspect, the quality of the filmmaking, the
Mhm.
roles, the script, and all that.
You
You
might
know,
not like necessarily the ideologies of the filmmaking
it's
itself.
the director. My problem with Civil War and with this film is not so. It's the director, because the director is the one that imparts the
And
tone
you know what's
and the
crazy
moral.
is that he's very much a liberal too, which I wouldn't necessarily guess by watching the movie. Personally,
Yeah.
you guys are gonna fist fight.
What would you do with seven? Well, I'd give it 7.5.
I give it a 7. I give it a lower score than you.
Really?
It's good. It's great. I like a lot, but it's not so much like it's not a movie that's like a narrative story that you sit down to enjoy. It is more like an experience.
Do you think that it is better or would benefit from a repeat viewing?
I think so, potentially.
I absolutely do too.
I think
Do you
so.
think you would like it more or less on the second viewing?
I don't know. I think I like my expectations won't interfere with it as much, and I know that has a lot to do. I have expectations about movies going in, and even going into this, my brain's still like horror movie, horror movie, horror movie, horror movie. It ain't a horror movie. There's some horrific things.
In the Astor Hall of Fame, where would you put it?
Uh, well, I mean, I think there's tiers to his movies, and I think
I
obviously
had a lot of tears in this movie.
they have the strange thing about the Johnsons, and Hereditary is up here, and then you have um Midsummer, and then I think this and Beau is
Beau is
Afraid are
Afraid.
kind of like his C tier stuff. Not bad, but they're just so gnarly, and they just get into some crazy things.
I've
And
never forgiven you for taking me to see Midsummer.
I liked it. It was
Yeah, I
good.
know you did.
Yeah, I just like scarring you.
Yeah. Here's the moral of the story.
Don't learn how to read.
Watch this movie or any movie with your mom or your dad or your son or your daughter, kind of thing. People, especially people that are different from you.
Discourse.
Yes. And then in a very calm, we
Yeah,
didn't fight kind of
no,
thing. And I'm not going to
we
inherit
still got
you.
to record another video.
Oh, so I just, it's really good to do that.
No, we've
The
lost ability.
enemy is when you don't talk, when you
Yeah.
don't share. But it's like Judge Judy, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Mhm.
So we should listen more than we speak.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is it?
That's my
it's not that we
challenge.
can't have differing opinions. Is it for some strange reason we just take it personally
And
too
we
much.
can't hear. And that's
Yes.
that is a flaw that I have.
Yeah, close
Because
your
I think
mouth.
I've figured it out, But
Have you?
I think I have, and that's a dangerous position to do when you know, it's not the facts. I will debate the facts all night long.
Mhm.
It's the opinion side of this. It's the therefore, how do you take those facts, and what do you take from that? So, like I say, you can have your own opinions, you can't have your own facts, but our opinions oftentimes is how we see the facts. Man, this is deep.
Filtered through an opinion. Yeah.
Where else are you going to get this kind of analysis?
Sesame Street.
See, and you got and again, Sesame Street and the defunding of PBS and NPR.
I didn't mean to start it again.
A vital source of news and art, especially in rural communities, and the least biased media that you can get. And what are we going to do?
Disagreeing with
Let's
you.
get rid of
I
it.
didn't disagree. I'm not
Because
disagreeing with you.
I need.
But here's the great thing. You can work hard enough, you can start PBS again. And if people enjoy it, people will listen. Not the end of the world. It sucks. But with hard work, anything can happen.
I'm so glad that you were here for our last episode of Rotten
Trying to
Potatoes.
put a light at the end of this freaking
Yeah.
tunnel here.
Yeah, I need a light.
It's like the world of worlds.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, speaking of which, we got to do a video on the New
Oh,
World
God,
Awards.
yeah.
So
2 words, it sucked.
we will see you
At the movies.
Kill me now. Oh.